HOA Karen called cops for fishing in my own lake. Now her entire HOA is banned from the shoreline. Have you ever had the police called on your own child for fishing in your own lake? Because I have. It started on a Tuesday. I remember that clearly because it was the first day in weeks I'd taken off work early. I had planned all burgers on the grill, cold beer in the cooler, and my son Eli fishing off the dock, just like I used with my dad back when this cabin was still falling apart and the lake was just ours. We just finished rebuilding the deck last spring. I finally had a dock I was proud of, a lakeside place I'd sunk nearly all my savings into restoring. I even installed a carved wooden sign that said, "Reed Family Lakefront since 1954. My grandfather built that cabin. My father fought to keep it during the development boom. And me? I paid off the last lien 2 years ago. So yeah, you could say I took pride in that land. Which is why it damn near knocked the air out of my lungs when I came back from the grill and saw flashing blue lights parked on a gravel path. Eli's fishing pole was laid on the dock like a weapon. And there, hands on hips, stood a woman I'd only heard about until now. Karen Greeley, HOA president, 5'3", 300 pounds of fury, and a face permanently pinched like she smelled something offensive. Dressed like she was ready for war-oversized sunglasses, clipboard dangling from her waistband, HOA lanyard slung around her thick neck like a medal. She was yelling at the cop. "He's trespassing. That dock doesn't belong to him, it belongs to the HOA. I step in quickly, heart thudding. "Officer, this is my property. My dock. My lake." Karen turned, narrowed her eyes like I'd just spit on her begonias. "That's impossible. This entire lakefront is under HOA shared use. We've had kayak tours here for years." "Yeah, and I've let it slide," I said, out of neighborly decency. "But I never gave you ownership." She scoffed, waved at the officer. "He's lying. We've had this jurisdiction since 2003. I have the map." And sure enough, she pulled out a folded sheet from her back pocket crudely highlighted, clearly photocopied from one of the outdated HOA welcome packets. It showed a dotted line circling the lake, but the problem? It was drawn by the developer before my deed was even recorded. I pulled out my phone, opened the land deed app I'd bookmarked. "See this?" I pointed. "Parcel 203. L covers the entire east shoreline. That's me, right down to the water. Recorded in 2004. I own it outright." The cop leaned over, looked, then looked at Karen. She didn't back down. She doubled down. "He can't just gatekeep a natural resource. It's un-American. It's selfish." I blinked. "Karen, it's private land. There are signs. You even tore one down last fall me neighbor saw you." The officer gave me that look, the kind that says, "Yeah, this isn't your fault, but I have to be here anyway." He sighed. "Unless there's proof of an easement or right-of-way, I'm going to have to ask you to back off, ma'am." Karen shrieked and stomped off like she was about to call her army. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. 2 days later, I came home to find 22 people on my lawn. Kayakers, paddleboarders, some guy with a propane grill. There was even a woman in a folding chair with a HOA picnic sash draped across her chest. In the middle of it all, Karen, holding a bullhorn. "Welcome to Lake Liberty, everybody. This is our water." My son stared out the cabin window, jaw slack. "Dad, are we being invaded?" "Not just invaded. Violated." I marched straight to Karen. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" She turned, fake smile wide and venomous. "Community lake event. Fully approved by the HOA calendar. On land you don't own?" She shrugged. "We've always used it. If you had an issue, you should have spoken up years ago." That was it. The line in the sand. So I spoke up. To the county records office. To the Water Rights Division. And to my attorney. What Karen didn't know, what absolutely fried her circuits later, was that while she was busy printing party flyers, I had already submitted the paperwork for shoreline boundary enforcement through the county. I filed environmental restriction notices on my shore. I requested official signage from Fish and Wildlife. And most satisfying of all, I filed a cease and desist order against Lake Liberty HOA for unauthorized use of private land for commercial and recreational activity. Because here's the kicker: Karen had sold lake access memberships to over a dozen families. She'd profited off my shoreline. And now, that lake had become the centerpiece of an open fraud investigation. The fraud charges came in faster than even I expected. Turns out, Karen had collected over $18,000 in shoreline dues over the past 2 summers, pocketing most of it without reporting it to the HOA treasurer. She called it community improvement, but none of that money ever improved a damn thing unless you count her patio expansion and brand new outdoor freezer. Within a week, 4 board members quit. One of them Miggle called me directly and said, "We didn't know, man. We really didn't." She told us the shoreline was grandfathered into our charter. We trusted her. I believed him. But trust doesn't erase damage. The county issued a formal shoreline protection order, enforced by the sheriff's office. The next Saturday, when Karen showed up to stage another lake walk with HOA flags and folding chairs, she was met with 2 deputies and a ranger from the Fish and Wildlife Department. They read her the notice on the spot. No individual or group associated with the Lake Liberty HOA shall enter, utilize, or alter the eastern shoreline or lake bed within Parcel 203L, as it constitutes protected private land with registered ecological significance. She tried to argue again. I've lived here 20 years. I've hosted fundraisers. I built this community. And that's when the ranger held up his phone and played the video. Twist 1. The woman who filmed Karen ripping down my private shoreline sign 6 months earlier was her own niece. Apparently, Karen had embarrassed her at a family barbecue by mocking her job at the county clerk's office, so she decided to repay the favor by turning over the video and every one of Karen's fake access forms. Karen's face dropped, like something inside her soul just gave out. She turned, waddled away without another word. People watched. No one followed. Later that night, HOA members held an emergency meeting, this time in someone's backyard. No tents, no catered lemonade, just folding chairs and truth. They voted unanimously to dissolve the entire HOA. Too many scandals, too much liability, too many lies. Twist 2. In dissolving the HOA, all communal property defaulted to county review. And guess who bid to purchase the now-abandoned community lot adjacent to the lake? Me. For a single dollar, I bought it at auction because no one else even showed up. The lot is now a free-access fishing dock for veterans and underprivileged youth. The same place Karen used to patrol like a tyrant is now a place of healing, laughter, and learning. And the sign? I carved it myself. Reed Lake Private Land. Public Heart. Karen still lives 3 blocks up. Her porch is quiet now. Her golf cart's tires deflated. I heard from Miguel she tried to start a new HOA under a different name, called it Liberty View. The county shut it down immediately. Turns out, once you get slapped with 3 civil citations and a state-level fraud claim, you're no longer allowed to lead anything involving communal governance. Some say karma moves slow, but that day, karma came by canoe. So now, every summer evening, I sit on my dock with Eli, cast a line, and watch the sun dip low over a lake that no longer has HOA drama on its shores, just frogs, ripples, and peace. We work for this land. We fought for this freedom. And in the end, we didn't just reclaim our rights. We reclaimed the soul of the lake itself. So tell me, was I wrong for banning an entire HOA from the shoreline they tried to steal? True or false? The end.